It's the longest event of the year for the SK Light Modifieds here at the Stafford Motor Speedway as we get set Bonssa Tufa to double down, sponsored by Monaco Ford.
It's always exciting when the SK Lights run 20 laps. Now they got to run 40, and we've had a huge field already this season, much like last year, and great competition. But in spite of the great competition, there's still one driver everybody needs to beat.
And that driver, of course, is Tyler Chapman. A record 5 in a row last Friday night, dating back to the last 2 points-paying events. Last year, the first 3 this year, but 40-lap races haven't been very strong for Tyler.
Well, this race 1 year ago, Chapman did not even make the green flag. He broke the transmission on the pace lap coming to the green. He had a DNF the year before in a 40-lapper. It just hasn't gone well for him. It's not like he likes the 40-lappers. He does. It's just that the luck has not been there. So if he can keep that car in one piece, we know he's going to be starting deep in the field just because of the handicap. He's got to make his way through. He's got more time to work with, and if he can keep it clean, he'll be battling up front. But there's a lot of drivers like Brian Sullivan, who won both 40-lappers last year, that'll be looking for victory lane.
And is currently second in the championship standings and is top 5, and I believe podiumed in all 3 events thus far.
It's typical Sullivan. That's how he is every week. Quiet but consistent. Podiums, seconds, and thirds this year. But you got guys like Alex Pearl who thrive in these 40-lappers as well. We've seen Pearl fight for the win in these extra distance events, but he had a wrecked race car last week. Got to get the car put back together. He's looking for that first win in a while. He hasn't won since 2022. He has the speed, just needs some good fortune. This is a good place to start.
2 more names for you before we move on. Meg Fuller and Amanda West both had good nights last Friday.
Meg Fuller got 2 top 5s, bouncing back after a big wreck in the first event of the season. Amanda West had a wreck in the first event of the season. Did not have a great resumption feature in the first race last Friday, but the second race she started, I think, 18th and made her way to 5th. So a great drive for that 15 team. Even though they had that one wreck, it's still a much better start compared to last year.
In the SK Modified, speaking of a good start, Corey DiMatteo has come out strong in the first 3 races, including back-to-back checkered flags and 2 of the most incredible races that we have seen here in quite some time.
How does that not make you excited for this upcoming Friday? The racing has been insane. The first half, we saw Brian Narducci and Keith Rocco go back and forth 2 or 3 times. Narducci pulling off crossovers. Then we saw Corey DiMatteo make his way to the front. Bassett charged up to the front. Troy Talman. We all thought the same thing. Where did he come from? He was very quiet in the first half. He was battling for the lead, lost it with a couple laps to go to Corey DiMatteo, as you mentioned. Back-to-back SK wins. That team is firing on all cylinders. They showed so much promise last year. They could not have started any better this season. They just got to keep that up, especially because the 3-time defending champion Todd Owen had his issues last Friday.
Right where we're standing here on the back straightaway, ending a 36-race streak of finishing in the top 10. Want to hit on Andrew Moeller for a moment as well, kind of consistently quiet in that 85 team.
That's been the MO of the Petty Cash Motorsports team every season. Good starts. Moeller, no different. 2 5ths and a 3rd. His first podium of the year last Friday. Looking to get to victory lane, but it's a work in progress, and that 85 team, they know how to get it done. They just got to keep it consistent. That's the big factor. Once we get past the month of June, can they keep it up? They can. They just got to execute.
Speaking of knowing how to get it done, Kevin Gambacorta in the late models knew how to get it done last year, winning the championship, and again has come out strong this year with a 3rd, a 1st, and a 1st.
Yeah, that team is just even better, I think, than how they were last year. I mean, 2 wins already in the first 3 races. He did not do that last season. It could have been 3 for 3 if he didn't have that opening day spin. So who knows? But that 23 has been really fast. Gambacorta on a tear right now. Naturally, a 3rd and 2 first. He's the point leader. It's early to talk about points, but we got to mention Paul Verrecchio Jr., back-to-back second places, both behind Gambacorta. You can tell he's just trying to figure out what it's going to take to get past that 23 after what happened on week 1. But that 39 has had some very fast lap times, competitive, if not better than the 23.
And during week 1, they came together while battling for the race lead off of turn number 2. So keep an eye on those 2 here on Friday night in the late models. In the limited late models, a feel-good story in Napa Victory Lane. Not a lot of people knew it at the time, but a trying week for RJ Serdell ended in Napa Victory Lane with his first win in 7 years.
We're just lucky to still have him after what happened at his race shop. The car fell on him. It crushed him. Thankfully, he had a couple other people, including Trinity Provost, helping him get out of that car by jacking the car up. then he comes here on Friday and wins. It's insane. So that's a really big win for Serdell, not just because of what happened earlier that week, but also it's his first win since 2017. It had been a long time. So just a really meaningful win in many different ways for that 83 team. We'll see if they can keep that up. That's 3 different winners in 3 races. Matt Clement back on the podium again. Adrian Paradise III had a good run. Jeremy Lavoie, though, finished 6th. Wasn't too happy with his car. Kind of an off run for that team, which we're not used to, but it's still early on. Plenty of racing to go. A lot of competition still remains.
You mentioned Lavoie. We haven't heard a whole lot from the last couple of champions, Lavoie and Rich Hammond.
Yeah, Rich Hammond, he had trouble before the green flag actually came out. There was a false start on the original green flag, and he got spun in the checkup, got some damage on the fender, just quietly ran right at the back edge of the top 5 or so. So it's kind of similar to last year for him, and I think he's got a little more speed at this time compared to last season when he really struggled. We'll see if they can adapt to the track conditions if they change much at all. There's still a long ways to go and a lot that can happen.
And in the street stocks, a historic night that we knew was only a matter of time for Travis Haidar, now the all-time win leader in that division.
21st career street stock win. Of course, who he had to beat? Ryan Waterman. What else is new? Great side-by-side battle in the final 3 laps of the event. Waterman tried so hard on the outside to the point where he almost missed the corner and hit the wall. Actually, I think he did kiss the wall coming off of 4 and fell all the way back to 5th. That's how much he really wanted that win. He was willing to sacrifice that win, even if that meant falling outside the podium. Haidar gets it done, though. 2 wins in 3 races. It's insane that he's finished top 2, I think, in the last 13 races, 12 races, except for 2. And those 2 races where he didn't finish top 2, he was leading on the last lap when trouble happened. So that 11 team, again, a huge championship contender. Travis Downing won the week before. Wasn't as much a factor this week, although Burt Willett was better, finishing 2nd.
And also want to give kudos to Jeff Haslin.
Yes.
Podium finish once again, back-to-back third-place runs coming off of some pretty serious electrical issues going into last Friday night.
He said it best. You just got to be there, and sometimes the door opens for you. He got the podium the first time when Haidar and Waterman wrecked off of 4, and then last week Waterman missed turn 4, allowing Aslan to go from 4th to 3rd, back-to-back podiums. That team, it's a small team. They're just getting used to the street stocks here at Stafford. Last year was his rookie year, so he's still getting the hang of it, but a lot better start to this season. Back-to-back podiums. Can he make it 3 in a row? It will be tough. But they've had a lot of motivation since what happened a couple weeks ago with all those mechanical issues, and they say never give up. They've not given up.
They have not in that number 7 car. Knock on wood, weather looks good for Friday night.
We'll leave it at that.
Stafford Motor Speedway, week number 4. It's going to be a great night of competition here. Hope you can join us here in person. All the action gets underway at 6 o'clock here on the Stafford Half Mile. And if you can't join us, you can always tune us in on Flow Racing.